This metal is 63 years old. The Air Force just spent $2 billion to keep it flying into the 2050s. That's 100 years. For a bomber, every replacement failed. The B-58 Hustler retired after 10 years. The B-70 Valkyrie canceled. The B-1B maintenance nightmare. Meanwhile, this thing, built when Eisenhower was president, just got a contract for new engines. On paper, this makes no sense. The metal is from 1962. Some airframes have 18,000 flight hours. The original engines, out of production. The radar, antiquated and failing. That's a direct Air Force quote. And yet they're spending billions to keep it flying. What could possibly be worth this? The B-52 Stratofortress. First flight, 1952. Still flying, 2025. Projected retirement, 2050s. Do the math. That's a century. And here's the crazy part. It wasn't designed to last this long. It was designed to survive World War III. So why is it still here when better bombers are already gone? That's the story. And it's not what you think. It's not nostalgia. It's not because the Air Force can't afford replacements. And it's definitely not because the design was somehow perfect. I pulled the actual fatigue test data, the structural analysis reports, the billion-dollar contracts. Here's what nobody tells you. The B-52 survives because of an accident. Not genius, not perfect design. An accident, and I can prove it. Today we're diving into 6 decades of compromises, billion-dollar brain transplants, and one uncomfortable question. When does good enough become too good to replace? Let's start with what this thing was actually built for, because that's where the story gets weird. So let's talk about what this thing was actually supposed to do. 1952. The Cold War is heating up. The Pentagon needs a bomber that can fly halfway around the world, drop nuclear weapons on Moscow, and maybe make it home. Enter the B-52. 8 engines, a 185-foot wingspan, and a design philosophy that basically said, build it like a tank, because World War III doesn't allow for second chances. Here's what they were thinking. Fly high, 50,000 feet, stay above Soviet fighters and missiles, deliver the payload, done. Massive range, huge bomb capacity, all metal construction because in 1952, that's what you trusted. And then, the war they built it for never happened. Picture this instead. Strategic Air Command crews sitting on alert pads, engines warm, nuclear weapons loaded, waiting for orders that thank God never came. But here's where it gets interesting. The B-52 didn't retire. It went to Vietnam, then Iraq, Afghanistan, ISIS. It became a conventional bomber flying low, sometimes just a few hundred feet off the ground. And that nearly destroyed it. Low-level flight created fatigue stress 8 times higher than what the wings were designed for. The upper wing surfaces started cracking. Inspections revealed metal screaming for mercy. Wings designed for 50,000 feet, now flying at 500 feet. Stress levels 8 times higher than engineered. Metal from 1962. By every logical measure, these planes should have been scrapped by 1975. So what saved them? Here's the secret nobody talks about. The B-52 survives because it barely flies. Wait, hear me out. A typical B-52H logs about 380 hours per year. Compare that to a commercial airliner. Those planes rack up thousands of hours annually. Metal ages with stress. The B-52 ages in slow motion. But that's only part of it. When those wings started cracking from low-level missions, the Air Force could have retired the fleet. Instead, they got creative. Programs like Pacer Planck literally reskinned the upper wing surfaces. Engineers ran fatigue tests to 6 lifetimes, 72,000 hours just to find the breaking point. Maintenance crews call certain aircraft high-time birds. Some have over 18,000 hours on them. In the mid-1990s, engineers said, okay, we can push these to 32,000 hours if we're careful. So they rebuilt sections, replaced panels. performed open-heart surgery on flying bombers. And it worked. Here's the aha moment. The B-52 wasn't built to last a century. It was built to survive Armageddon. Think about that. Engineers in 1952 designing a bomber that might have to fly through a nuclear blast. So they overbuilt everything. Thicker metal, redundant systems, structural margins that seemed insane. They had no idea that margin, that overkill for World War III, would become the reason it's still flying 70 years later. It's the ultimate accident. The 1950s engineers had no clue they were building a 100-year platform. They just built it tough because atomic bombers don't get do-overs. So we've got an airframe that refuses to die. But old bones aren't enough. You need a modern brain, so the airframe can last. Great! But what about everything else? Those original engines, the Pratt and Whitney T F-33s, they're out of production. The radar? The Air Force literally called it antiquated and failing. You can't fight with 1960s technology, not anymore. Enter the B-52J upgrade, and it's massive. Every single aircraft, all 76, is getting 8 brand new Rolls-Royce F-130 engines. Fuel efficient, reliable, modern. The radar? Swapped for the Raytheon AN/APQ-188 AESA system, same tech you'd find in an F-15EX. All-weather targeting, high-resolution ground mapping. This thing can now see what modern fighters see. Cost? Over $2 billion just for the engine contract. Let me put that in perspective. $2 billion for engines. That's more than some countries spend on their entire Air Force for a bomber from 1962. So why? Because those old TF-33's engines aren't just inefficient, they're literally unsustainable. No spare parts, no manufacturer support. Without new engines, the entire fleet dies by 2030. It's not a choice. It's survival. The integration work alone, running into the early 2030s, years of testing, billions more in engineering. Here's the wild part. Walk onto a B-52. J flight deck in 2030. Digital displays, advanced avionics, communication systems talking to satellites and 5th-gen fighters. Then look at the fuselage frame around you. 1962. It's like putting a smartphone brain into a rotary dial body. Except it works. Now, critics hate this. Why spend billions on a Cold War relic? Build more B-21s. The Air Force's answer? Math. Cost per ton of ordnance delivered. The B-52 hauls more bombs, flies farther, costs less than anything else. It's not sexy, but it's effective. Which raises the uncomfortable question. Is this legendary engineering or stubborn liability? Think about this for a second. An aircraft built in 1962 might still be flying in 2050. That's not supposed to happen. Modern designs don't last like this. The B-52 exists because of 3 things: accidental over-engineering, low usage rates, and the Air Force's stubborn refusal to let it go. It wasn't built to last a century. It was built to survive nuclear war. That margin, that overkill, is what's keeping it alive. Here's the bigger idea. Sometimes good enough becomes irreplaceable. Sometimes brute force simplicity beats cutting-edge complexity. The B-52 proves that longevity isn't about being perfect. It's about being adaptable. So here's my question for you. What else in your life is still working simply because someone overbuilt it for a disaster that never came? Think about it. Drop your answer in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And if you want more stories like this, aircraft that refused to die, engineering that defied logic, hit subscribe. We're just getting started.